Alright friends, so welcome back. So in the last tutorial, in the last example, we saw the magic of data binding, and we'll take this magic a little further in this tutorial. So we saw here that we used a directive called ng- model, and we gave it a name called category, and we displayed the value of category by using the double curly brackets and typing the name of the variable in between the double curly brackets. And you could use it n number of times if you like. So you could use category again here. All right, so it would be typed here again 2 times here, right? So you could use it any which way you like. Now, to understand this data binding in a more better way, we now are going to create controller for our application. So as we understand, the architecture is all about model, which is the data, view, which is the HTML, and controller, which is the code which contains the functionality of our app. So now we are going to write the code, the functionality of our app. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a new JavaScript file within the scripts folder here. So let me add a new JavaScript file here, and let's give it a name called app.js. All right, so, and to include the functionality of IntelliSense, the benefit of IntelliSense, let me give it a reference to Angular.js file. Now, the first thing that we're going to go do is create a module of our app. So let's give it a name var quiz app, since we would be developing a multiple choice quiz application. So Angular has a function called angular.module. It contains 2 parameters. The first one would be the name of the module that we're going to create. So in this case, we have given it a name called quiz app, and second would be, in this case, would be a empty JavaScript array. Now, in our future tutorials, we would be actually passing on some items in this empty array, but right now we are keeping it an empty. Now there is a concept called dependency injection in Angular. So we're going to talk about this in future tutorials, but this empty array right here, right now, is all about dependency injection. So dependency injection literally means on what kind of services our application would be dependent upon. Right now our application is not dependent on any other service, so we are leaving this array blank, right? Now, so let's create a controller here. So create a controller. So how would you create a controller? By using the module name, so quiz app. Then we have a function called controller. It contains 2 parameters. The first one would be the name of the controller. So let's give it a name called quiz controller, and then pass on a inline function in this way. So this inline function would contain all the logic of our application. So it would contain all the code of our application. So if I say code goes here, all right. And this inline function actually receives a global Angular object called $scope. Now you would use this $scope throughout your Angular application. So what is $scope? $scope is a global Angular object, and it contains references to all the model variables. All right, so you can access all the model variables by using the $scope object. So as you can see in the last example, we created a text box and we gave it a category name to the ng-model directive. So this category is the variable which is stored in the model, and if you want to access this category from the code, you would need to use the $scope object, and it would work through dot notation. So how it would work, let me show you. So $scope dot category. So I am now accessing the category variable, and I can initialize or give it some value here. Let's say so this is the initial value. All right, so what I'm doing here is that I am now initializing the value of $scope.category by this string. So if I save this file and if I serve this file on the browser, now you would see nothing is being happening here, although no error is here. So we were expecting that this text box would be initialized with this string, but we have forgotten one thing. Now what we're going to do is that the controller that we have created here, which is the quiz controller, we're going to use a directive in the index.html file, and We'll use this in the body section. Let's give it a name. The directive is called, the third directive that we're going to use now is ng-controller. And we're going to give this the value exact like this, the name of the controller that we just created. So the name of the controller is quiz controller. All right. So now basically this directive tells the browser that consider this code from the opening body tag to the closing body tag, of course as an Angular application, since it is in between the ng-app, but this content would also be available to our quiz controller. All right. So, and the other thing that we need to do is that we need to give pass on the name of the module to this ng-app directive. So the name of the module is quiz app, right? So if I save and if I run this file, now you would see we are getting an error. Let me search. Oops. So we have created a app.js file, but we have not included this file in our web page. So let me drag and drop. So these are common mistakes, you make generally. So if I run this now, so you would see we have initialized the value of the text box. Now this is two-way data binding. So let's understand this properly. So what we've done here, that we have created a app.js file, and in this file we have created quiz app, which is the module of Angular. We have created a new module and we have named it as quiz app. And in the quiz app we have created a controller called quiz controller, and quiz controller function has two parameters. First would be the name of your controller which you want to keep, and second would be an inline function. And in this inline function we are passing a global Angular object called $scope. This $scope object has access to all the variables in the model, and we are accessing the category variable here, and we are initializing this with a string value. Now data binding is happening. So this category is data binded to the text box here by the ng-model directive. So whatever is the content of this category variable would be displayed in the text box, and then the category content is also being displayed here by using the Angular expression of the double curly brackets. So this is two-way data binding, right? And we would be learning more about data binding in our future tutorials. I hope you like it, and you can use it awesomely to create your web apps which are actually based on heavy duty data, right? So thank you so much. Stay tuned, and in our next tutorial we'll talk about more magic of Angular, and we're going to talk about more directives like ng-repeat. Stay tuned. Thank you so much.